Hey folks, this is Tony Aguilar, and we're going to do a little bit of some painting here on Thursday night and see if we can't get some stuff done. So, what we're working on is the last two mounted figures of my Khawarij army, and that's these two figures right here. And let me just take a look at some settings. Make sure we don't have anything strange coming up here, but. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys, we'll see what we get done here. Now, right off the bat, I didn't prepare properly, so I need to put some water here on this, on the palette here, because the paper is already coming up. So I will be right back, and we're gonna put some water on this and start back up. Yeah, so just some tap water right there. We'll take care of that. And now we're back in business. So I've been using this wet palette for over a year now, and I experienced something that I've heard some folks talking about, but I had never experienced it, and that was developing some mold. I actually got little flecks of mold, I mean, very small, on here, and had to wash the pad here with some soap and water, and no big deal, but I was getting some mold on there, very small. It almost looked like little paint splatterings, but that did happen. So I did one of these on Monday night, a live filming, and I know some people found them useful. I was extremely disappointed. And the reason I was extremely aware of, I've been using in all my filming, I film with a phone. And for 3 years now almost, I've been using a Samsung 8 Plus. And on Saturday, I decided to, I had a little issue that came up with the phone and my screen cracked. And I decided to go ahead and do an upgrade. So we went and we're now running a S20 Ultra 5G. Okay. Hey, Australian Greg, how are you doing there? Greg Kelleher from Australia joining us. So it's morning there. So top of the morning to you. But I upgraded the phone because I needed to get some better resolution on here, and since then I've been able to do YouTube Live. And unfortunately, the quality of the video is substandard. I can film this phone is capable of making 4K video, um, and in 1080p, which is what I plan on doing forward. But this live feed, for whatever reason, doesn't never upload it at more than 720, which is just not good enough to show what we got going on here. So I know that there's some people that have 1080 live and 4K live and all kinds of stuff, and I'm just wondering if they've got more subscribers or they get priority. I'm not sure how it works. I've looked around the internet for quite a bit of time. It's a shame because I got some stuff you guys would probably be interested in seeing here, but due to the fact that this is miniatures, you need to see the details here that are prevalent. So we're just going to keep moving forward. Maybe you guys will find some use in this, but if not, at least I'm getting a little bit of painting done. But maybe if we keep trying to get uploaded in a better quality. So I'm going to do a little thing different because I know some people are interested in this, and like I said, hopefully the resolution can handle showing this. I'm going to mix up some flesh. I know I've been asked by many people how I do flesh. I've been doing the same method of flesh now for many years. I've been pretty happy with it, and I can just tweak it a little bit to get some different tones. So I'm going to show you guys what I do for flesh, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the flesh on these, take the opportunity of painting the flesh on both of these guys. So, of course, we have black and white. That's goes in everything that I do. Um, and there's actually two base colors I use. The first one is red leather Vallejo. It's 136 red leather. It could be. It just happens to be this is the color that I use, and also Scunny. I always call it Scunny. Sunny skin tone. Okay, for the flesh. Okay, so basically explain to you what I'm going to do, and then I'll do it. So it's a little bit easier to understand. So normally the way I paint is I'll take black or a darkener or something like that, mix it with a core color. Uh, so mix it with black, and then the next shade has a little bit less than black, and then eventually you have this one here full, and then you start mixing it with a lightener. Well, we're going to do something different with flesh is we do that until we get to this color, and then we're going to start adding sunny skin tone to it, and then add a little bit of a white. So it's almost like there's two base colors in there. With Middle Eastern flesh, which is, I just decided to make these guys a little bit darker, I'm going to start adding the sunny skin tone, not when I get to this color, but when I get to just before it. So it's going to make them have a little bit less look, a little bit less brighter look to the figures. But I'll show you guys how it is. So let me find a spot here where there is nothing going on, and we already have. We got black that's alive. We do have black that's alive. Okay, cool. So let's mix some. Let's put some red leather down here. I'll show you guys how we're going to do this. And again, I don't know how in the hell I came across doing this, but I probably started doing this around night. Let me move my coffee so I'm not reaching across the camera. I probably started 95, 96, 1995, 1996. So of all the shades that I paint, yeah, so yeah, Greg says coming through at 720p. That's a shame. Why? I mean, I almost have a 5G signal. I don't understand. Oh well, we'll just keep plugging along. Hopefully, we can. It'll improve. Some people have a 1080p, and all they're doing is maybe something that's useful for you guys. Importance here on this hobby. But regardless, what I need is to see the focusing here. I don't think I can focus this up. I can. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can do this. Okay. I was used to using the Streamlabs app, which honestly is pretty sucky, but it was free and allowed me to. I don't think I can. Let's try that. Okay, I'm going to have the figure here. Oh, well, you guys will get the gist. You'll be able to see me mixing the paint. So we're going to take the red leather, okay, and we're going to add black to it. And this is probably about right for the base color. So I'm going to take every little bit of flesh and I'm going to paint them in this color, okay? And this is going to take a little bit of while. Like I said, as you go up in shades, actually, I want to go a little bit darker than that because we're going to paint eye sockets and stuff like that. Let's go a little bit darker. We'll eventually get to this shade here, but here we go. We want really dark brown is what we're getting at. Okay, so yeah, this system's worked really well for me. But what I was saying is of all the shades I do, normally if I'm painting, say, a pair of pants or something like that, I'm using the core color and probably I'm probably using 5 different shades. I'm using the core color with a lot of black, the core color with a little bit less black, then the core color, then the core and a lightener. We'll say white just for argument's sake. It's usually white, but not always. And then a little bit more lightener. And that's kind of the shades how I paint normally. With flesh, you're talking about the way I'm doing it, probably about 7 shades because you've got not only a transition between your darkener and your core color, but I'm adding a second core color at another point. So it adds a little bit more shades. You could do less, and the transition doesn't become as smooth. So anyhow, that's how I do it. Maybe you'll find it useful. I'm not trying to convert anybody. If you're happy with how your things turn out, by all means. Okay, so we've got this guy completely painted. You probably can't even tell, but I can tell. And we're going to go ahead and do these. These guys don't have a whole lot of flesh. They are mostly covered. They are ahead of their time. They're in COVID mode, covered up. So this guy just has one hand showing and just a little slit there for his eyes. Okay. All right. So where that guy's done now too. You got to that shade that we covered over. Okay. I just didn't want to start with this shade. There's nothing wrong with shade. It just I think this is too light to get in the eye sockets and things like that. And yes, unfortunately, we're gonna have to paint eyes on some of these figures because when they leave me an eye socket, I kind of have to fill it with something or it looks weird. Hello, Fango Wolf. Is that Mud Wolf? Fango is mud in Spanish. Um, but anyways, I'm not sure if that's what your intent is. But thanks for joining me. And yeah, I've got to do some painting anyway, so I figured I need to show. I might as well show you guys. Maybe you guys will get some value out of this. Like I said earlier, I'm just disappointed that this isn't in the quality that I would. Wow, it's really misbehaving. I really need a camera guy, and I'm not that person. I'm not the camera guy. I'm the painter. I'm the painter. I'm good with maps correctly. Occasionally get the rules right. Speaking of which, you guys are. Oh, let's see what we got here. Okay. Oh, okay. Lance Gamble. Fango Wolf was my EverQuest name, Indian name for a wood elf ranger. Cool. I never played EverQuest. I got in. I had a computer and I did a little bit of World of Warcraft a long time ago, like 2005. And then I realized that it just got to a point where I was just waiting around for people to show up. So um, I do like gaming. I do some computer gaming. I do some Xbox gaming. But at the end of the day, that sometimes gets frustrating with the painting. Everything is when you're done, it's positive. It's you're not getting upset about other people that are you're interacting with that ruin the experience or get killed 20 times by the same creature or what have you. So this is definitely more relaxing. Okay, so we've got this. We're gonna just gonna a little bit. We're gonna leave the eye sockets alone. Okay, switch away from this brush. And for those of you guys that are following brush size, the brush sizes that I use. Okay, here we go. Let's see. How about that? The problem is with this resolution, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing on the figure. There's just no way. I can tilt it higher. Uh, and then let's autofocus there. Okay, excellent. Okay. So we've got that shade in. Now we're going to go ahead and, oh, so for those of you guys that were interested in, sorry, I sidetracked easy. I apologize, but somebody today was asking me what brushes I use. Okay, so I'm not going to say I'm a cheapskate, but expensive brushes aren't available in my town. I mean, I live in a town that has about 150,000 people in it, but we just don't have any of those Winston or Newton ones. So I just basically never got any. I never got involved in them. And so when I go and buy brushes, I go to Walmart or Michael's or any of those, and unfortunately they're synthetic, but it's this folk art 10 pieces, and these things run about $4 a piece. So you're spending less than 50 cents a brush. So I go in there and I buy like 4 packs, and I'm good for like 2 years or more. And some of these brushes are more useful than others, and the size doesn't matter a whole lot because there's sometimes it's the tip of the actual brush. This one in particular I was using was a one, but it had a good tip on it. Well, it had because eventually they just poop out on you. There's nothing you can do about it. I've got brush cleaner, and it helps a little bit. But honestly, if I spend half an hour cleaning a brush every time I use it, I'm better off just not doing that. It's not a good use of my time. They're so inexpensive. So, um, but anyhow, yeah, there's I know people rave about the Windsor and Newton brushes. There's nowhere here in town to get them, and I just can't justify spending $10 on a brush that I don't see. Because brushes are all different. Sometimes they'll have a good tip, and sometimes they don't. So, anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But the reality is if there's somewhere in town that had a Windsor and Newton brushes, like a fine arts studio, something like that, I might buy one just to give it a shot, just to see if it works. But these eventually do crap out. But I just end up moving them to something else. So when I stop using this guy here, it starts getting a little bit more of a curve on the end. What I'll end up doing is just use him to paint some of the basing around the figure that ends up getting the brushes kind of get destroyed when you're using them against this texture here. So like when it's time to paint this basing around the edge of the figure, you've got some porous surface here that's going to damage the brush. So that's when I start using guys like this. So eventually end up getting um, uh, moved down the line here. So um, let's see. You gotta come. First time you forget to clean it, it's usually ruined. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's something about. I mean, I mix paints with them, but I'm not really pressing hard. I'm not using that much paint. I just think that they're really poor quality control. I don't know, but I spend, like I said, I buy 4 packets. I probably one of those packets is good for half a year. So I'm spending $8 a year on brushes, and for 20 brushes, I'm not worried about it. There's other ways to. It's just that's all. So if I go to the store, I'll go and buy, I'll buy like 4 packs or whatever. And but anyhow, okay. So we're not going to be able to use that guy anymore for this because we're starting to get into areas where there's detail. So now we're going to move to Mister. This is a 10-aught, although that doesn't really mean anything. Like I said, it's just a more detailed point. Okay, and compared to what I was using before, it's not a huge difference. It's not a huge difference, but it's something. Again, a lot of this stuff I do without even thinking about it. I just kind of go. I overthink. I can overthink a lot of things, but not this painting. I've been doing this now for. Let me do some math here. 35 years. Well, not like this. I mean, I think we all got better when the internet started. We could share our hobbies on the internet. Because then you realize, oh man, there's people that really doing things in a method that I like a lot better. So you can share information. But definitely, I think that's improved us all. So we're just going to hit the top of the top of the hand here. And I know I'm probably a sadist for saying this, but I actually enjoy painting flush. And the reason I enjoy painting flush is because that is the part that kind of brings life to the figure. It gives them personality. We're just bringing across the details that the sculptor was nice enough to put. Let's see, I'm going to have to do that. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to do one of these videos and just do it not live and just show you guys kind of like how I did. If you look under my painting playlist for painting, and on there I did my basing technique, and I did it with fast camera, like fast forward, and I think photos of what the figure looked like in different stages, because that's the thing that happens with experience in painting. You end up realizing when you're on the wrong track before you get to the end of the project. So like I've done this enough, I will realize, say 25% of the way in, that this isn't going the way it should go, and I need to stop what I'm doing and then go in a different direction. That's what experience does. Um, that's the big advantage. When you're just starting out, you're like, you either give up because you get frustrated and realize it takes a long time, or you think it's going to turn out a certain way and it's not. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go back and we're going to add a little bit more of this color, and this is probably as high as we're going to go on the core color. Oh, let's see, where's my camera? Okay, this is as high as we're going to go on the core color. There's still a little bit of black in it, and then when we're done with this shade, we're going to start adding sunny skin tone. I don't know why I have sunny skin tone instead of scunny skin tone. Oh well. And most of my paints are Vallejo, mainly because back in the day, and we're going to call the day early 2000s, before 2004, I ended up selling a lot of old miniatures I didn't use anymore, mainly 1/2400 scale ships. We just weren't playing them anymore and didn't look up the how I liked them to look. So I sold them all. Um, and I had bought them a long time ago to the point they were mostly GHQ miniatures. I sold them so far long ago that I was basically able to make out the money that I had spent on them, which was a lot. So I took that, well, it was a couple $100, $300, $400, something like that. I took all that money and just bought every Vallejo color I could get my hands on because at the time that was the only paint that was readily available to me that had the rubber container, which of course is the secret for longevity because I still have some original Games Workshop, I shouldn't say Games Workshop, Citadel paints from circa 1990, 1989. This guy here, this Mithril Silver, this I bought this in the 80s. The late 80s, maybe 89. I don't think it was before 88, but this thing's still alive. It's not full. Now, I only use it for very little things, you know, like the really tippy swords or really fancy stuff. But this, and the container is really good. And really nothing else came around that I was able to get my hands on until Vallejo came around. I did come encounter these, the Cote d'Arms, which I love Cote d'Arms, but there's not a store I can walk into and pick some up. And yes, I can go and probably mail order them, but it's just not that I don't. You know how you don't want to spend money on shipping? You really don't want to spend the money on shipping on paint, especially because you got to look at the color to see what it is. But so I ended up getting a bunch of Vallejo paints. I mean, like a bunch, like I don't know. I have almost all the colors, 8 or something like that. So you know you use such little amount of this paint that you keep it forever. So that's kind of why I've been using it. But I've got some War Master, or it's actually not called War Master. It's called. I just picked up a couple of those at a convention recently, just to try something different. Let me find one. Where is it? War Painter, right? The Army Painter War Paints. None of the above. Okay, these are from Denmark, I believe. Yep. Herning, Denmark. Okay, so I've got Danish and Spanish paints. Good. Anyhow, oh, and the Cote d'Arms are, I believe, are from the UK, even though they have a French name. So they must be Norman paints. Anyhow, I love the Cote. They just flow like nothing else. They're amazing. Now, the bad thing they have is they have this design that after a while, this tab, just like the original Citadel ones, breaks, and then you got to pop this thing loose and hopefully not get a bunch of paint on you, which you just got to be careful. But if I had to pick a paint which was my favorite, I'd say it was Cote d'Arms because all the Cote d'Arms cover well. Some of the Vallejos are chalky. Some of them are just water. Doesn't seem to make much of a difference. All right, so we're going to bring this guy up to the same level. I'm doing this totally backwards, just so you know, because the flesh is one of the last things I do. I don't know why. I think that's like when I breathe life onto the figure, and I don't want to breathe life like now, and it's like, okay, so the guy's alive, but there's like no color paint on him, so I don't get it. But I wanted you guys to see dude color. So, all right, so let's, we're gonna need a little bit more of this, so let's go ahead and add this. Let's add a little bit of black. Oh, too much. That's okay. Yeah, so what the wet palette really helps me for is if you're doing multiple figures, you can have this paint mixed and it's not going to dry in between you go from figures to figures. Not necessarily for blending because I was using almost like a plastic tile on it, but just the air, the air, I mean, I've got a ceiling fan going on. It's going to dry it out and I'm going to have to do this remixing process. It's a waste of time issue. Okay, so here we've got, there we go. This is the core color. This is what I'm going to use as my core color for the sunny color. Oh, it's going to keep for a long time. It'll probably keep for a week there. Let me find the camera angle here. Okay, and we're going to take just a little bit because this goes a long ways, and we're going to start working here on the edge. Okay, and we're going to paint the highlights on this dude. Well, here we go. This paint I'm putting in layers is so thin, it doesn't cover up any details. This is actually an Old Glory figure. I ended up replacing the lances that came with because first of all they were really short and they were really bendy. And I'm like, well, let's get rid of them. And what's known about these guys is very little. Is that they use red banners. They have long lances. And what else? I want to say there was one other thing. Long lances, red banners. They weren't fun at parties, but so this is kind of like a medieval ISIS type guys. So um, I wanted to make sure I picked guys that were mostly covered. That's kind of the look that I wanted to go for. Let's see if we can focus on there. I'll have pictures on the community thing when I'm done with them, what it looks like. Okay, so we've got that, and let's stop going. So we've got this color here. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more sunny skin tone to it. And each successive layer is faster and faster to paint. Okay. These are line, and I believe they're called Bedouins. This is the Bedouin figure. So lots of people don't like Old Glory. I like them, especially because you got a lot of character. They got crisp details that paint up pretty well. Occasionally you get stuff, throw a shield on every single horseman. And there's a lot of horsemen that like aren't known for using shields really. I could be wrong, but they throw shields on everything and then it's like, okay, well, what shield patterns do you do? So what I've been doing is Little Big Man Studios make some really cool shield transfers. I'll show you one of them right here. This is for my Russians, which really these are the guys I need to go back to when I'm done with this army. So I've got two figures to do on this army, and they're done. I need to go back and finish them out on my Russians. Okay, but this is a Little Big Man Studios transfer. Now it doesn't look. This guy's not varnished yet. Well, when it's varnished, you won't be able to tell that there's a decal there at all. I was a little skeptical of it, and I was like, "This isn't turning out really well." But I was surprised; it turned out really well. So, Little Big Man Studios makes some really cool looking transfers for shields. They kind of a unique way to set them. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's not how you would expect like a slide type decal, but they work really well. And I went and I used their shield transfers as an idea of how to paint my figures. I decided not to get them for the this particular army because I kind of wanted to keep these guys kind of minimalist, and I think they kind of are. Um, I don't want them too fancy. Um, these guys are kind of more interested in fundamental beliefs and not necessarily treasures on earth, so to speak. So I didn't want them to be have all the painting, and I suspect that I may not like how they play, but they are definitely enjoy how they look. Kind of like my Ottoman Turks. I love my Ottoman Turks how they look. They were a lot of fun to paint. They're just they got a lot of weaknesses. A lot of things got to go right for them to have a really good day on the battlefield. But I still like them. You know, they're a lot of fun. So okay, so we brought this guy almost all the way up here. We're gonna add a little bit of white. As soon as I can find some white that's alive. Certainly I got some white that's alive. Maybe not. Of course, that white was probably a week old. Don't need a whole lot. Trying to find the center of the viewpoint here. Okay, thanks for joining us, John. You said you just finished 9 Indian elephants for a triple DBA army. Great to see other people's techniques. 9 elephants! Wow. I like to paint elephants. I just don't like them in combat. I don't have a lot of confidence in that they're going to get the job done, but they're definitely cute. They're definitely cute to paint and allows you to do something different, for sure. Mark Burgess. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Related note, how do you prime? Okay, so, you guys ready for the world's slowest priming method? I used to hand paint. Okay, I used to hand paint all of my priming. And what I used to use for hand painting was, find it here, and it's still do to a certain extent. I was afraid of, okay, I don't have it right here. I used to use this Model Master acrylic. Okay, so it's the acrylic Model Master black. And I would just hand paint the entire figure in it. And it would just take forever. And it was boring as hell to do. You know, some people want to have their figures painted by somebody else. I want my figures primed by somebody else. So about 2 years ago, I said, okay, this is just taking way too freaking long. Okay, so what I started doing is spray painting in black. And then I'm going to miss some spots. So then I went in with the flat black Model Master enamel, which is, this is equivalent to what comes out of the spray can, and then paint over any of the details that I missed with the spray can. Well, that saves a lot of time because you're only going to get this in the nooks. You're only going to have to paint this in the nooks and crannies. Okay. And you're going to get most of the other stuff. But if you continue spraying the entire area, if you spray the entire area again and again and again with a black, you're going to get too much paint in areas that are on the surface. And it's going to cover up all your black. Let it dry, see what you miss, and then go in and hand brush. And this is like the only enamel I use. This, and I have one coating of. I like the idea of having free thinner, you know. So yeah, that's basically how I prime. And I've been priming in black since the mid '90s, and I haven't gone back because if I miss something, it's dark and you can't see it. It can be kind of dark. And I tell them, well, we're playing in conditions not equivalent to my painting conditions, which, you know, I'm running an light 24 watt. I highly recommend getting one of those for painting. It's the best thing you can buy. I believe it retailed for about $100 when I got it. And we went to Michael's and they were 50% off, and we picked up 2 of them. We've got one here and we've got one in the living room that we use as a reading lamp, or a spare for this one in case this one were to poop out. But I think I've had it for, let's say 10 years. It's close to that. And I've only had to replace the light bulb once. And it's only burning 24 watts. So it's putting out no heat, and it's not using much power. It gives off an awesome light. It's good for photographing things. Yeah, highly recommend that. That's probably the thing that's of all the hobby items that I have, the most useful one. If you can only buy one thing, that would be the thing to buy. But yeah, I've been using this painting method for a while now, and I'm happy with it. It works for me, you know. So this is his flesh done, and these are the colors we use for flesh. Normally, I wouldn't have done this. What I've done first after the horse is complete is paint the figure's tunic. That's we'll call it tunic. I'm not sure that that's the technical name for it, but he's wearing. I know moo is not the correct terminology either, but that's he's wearing the whole one piece thing. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and do that next. All right. Now, because he's kind of has a darker colored horse, we're gonna have a light colored tunic, so it's gonna be whitish. So, what color white are we gonna use as a base? Let's take a look at. This is Let's do one that has a little bit of yellow in it. And of course, I can tinker with it. Well, this one's called gray green. If it's got any green in it, there's not a whole lot of green. We're going to mix this thing up, and we're going to use this as the base color for this dude right here. Yeah, so got this guy to finish. Then I got this guy to be done. And then we're done with this army. Well, we got to still do the basing and stuff like that. And I believe this is going to be the first army, the first DVA army I've built. It's not true. What I was going to ready to say is the first one I built with all options. Is I usually like look at it and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to play them this way. I'm just going to build them the way that I'm going to play them. And it's not true because my Armenians don't have any optional troop types. So types that I am building all the troop types for. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. Okay. Instead of using this core color and adding black to it and create our bottom shade, we're going to use brown, okay? And what brown are we going to use? We're going to use one that I use for a lot of things. This is an extremely useful brown color. It is chocolate brown from Vallejo, okay? And some of these colors I'm really happy to find out that we have hobby stores, but, well, we don't really have hobby stores. We have, like, game stores here in town. And Hobby Lobby carries some Vallejo colors, and they carry this color. So the fact that you find this useful is nice because you could just walk into a store and get more if you need some. Given I've only done that one time, it's not like I'm going through a ton of paint, but nonetheless, it's nice as an option. We're not really worried about doing any kind of details on that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mix. Make sure this is on screen. We're going to put the core color here, and we're going to mix some brown. And let's see where we go with this. A little bit more flow. And this is what we're going to call is what we're getting ready to paint. Okay. So if the tunic is basically this type of a color, okay. So that's just something to consider. And here we go. Now, if some of it looks like the black is not covering really well, it's not a problem because with enough levels of this that I'm adding, it will cover it up. So that's what I hear some people, their gripe with painting black is that the colors that you put on top of it look too dark because the black shines through. That's okay. My painting method shows the colors that are underneath coming through. And it's not a problem with this because, like I said, I'm going to be doing like 5 or 6 shades on top of it, and it will cover up. And the part that will be the least covered will be the recesses because you're not putting like the lightest 2 or 3 shades into any of those recesses. So we're just going to paint this happy guy completely. Every little bit of him. Again, this is what I call the boring part. Because I figure anyone can do this. It's a little too mindless. When you're working with the folds and stuff, honestly, that's pretty cool. I really enjoy doing that part. Um, Adding folds to the clothing's fun to paint. This guy dried out on me, so let's add a little. Let's mix it a little bit more, and go back with this. Okay, as we work, continue. Now this darkest shade on him is really similar to the color of the horse. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue. I don't think it will be. But if it is, then I knew it. I don't worry about that too much. I think in all the painting that I've done, only once in recent memory did I paint something I didn't like how it turned out. It ended up being the tunic on the general on my my Nanchao army. I ended up going back to blue. But that was it. I just had to repaint a shirt. No big deal, you know. This guy's going to be a little bit difficult to get into because of his mane, but it's not a problem. I can get in there. I would rather have a little bit of trouble trying to get to a place that I need to paint because, say, the horse or something else is in the way, than have to stop what I'm doing and glue the figure onto a horse that's completely painted. Because the idea of getting trying to clean up that bearing surface so that I don't want to get into that mess. And I just I've kind of done it this way. I'll glue everything I can together that I can get away with. Comes with the shield built in. Nobody asked me if I had a choice to put it on there or not. I just have to deal with it. So, um, yeah, that's not an issue for me. Not an issue for me getting in and around these things. So, and this doesn't have to be perfect in this stage because I'm going to add several other layers on here and all that. So it'll all turn out just great. Worry not. Okay. All right. So now we've got the base color of this guy here. It's, like I said, he's very similar to the horse color. Very, very similar. And I apologize again if you guys are only getting this in 720p. I swear to you, it's not being filmed in 720p. Just for some reason, the YouTube gods don't love me. But we're going to keep going, and eventually, maybe get a few more subscribers. I'm not sure how it is. I spent a significant amount of time trying to look it up and get some answers, but I just I couldn't get an answer from that. But this phone is capable of doing 4K video. The last video that I shot, which was the Army showcase on my Ostrogoths, I went ahead and 1080p is what I normally use, and I decided to re-export it again in 4K. Because I figured, okay, can I do it? Can I get it away? Can I get away with doing it? It took about 3 times longer, but it's a short video, and it still worked great. But when I looked at both videos, I couldn't tell a difference. So, and a lot of people don't have 4K stuff, so this could be broadcast in 1080, and I'm not sure what I got to do. So, if you guys have any ideas, or if you have your own video, how you're able to get it to work, I sure would appreciate it because I really wish you guys got a better look at what's going on here. But for now, we're just going to keep chugging along. Okay, so this is the, I threw in a second shade here without even saying I was throwing a second shade. Well, you guys knew what I was doing. I just added more of the light color. So let's go ahead and add a third shade. We're still in the negatives. I call that any color that has black in it. So this is going to be our final negative color, and then we're going to go to this base color here. I'm still using the big brush. Well, it's still doing its job. It's still doing its job. Let's bring out the colors and the folds and stuff. Yeah, if any of you guys know, one of my earlier videos I was talking about sculptors and how sculptors just that make these miniatures really don't get credit from the public on who the hell they are. Like, who's the sculptor for these Old Glory figures? I mean, is he somebody that we know if we heard his name? Or like, who's the sculptor for all the Essex figures? I mean, that guy's prolific. Regardless of whether or not you like Essex figures or not. I mean, Essex makes just about every figure made for just every nationality. And that guy sculpted them all. That or his twin that sculpted just the same. But those poor guys don't get any credit. Maybe they don't want to get credit, but it would be nice to say, oh yeah, I really like Jim White's work, or whoever he happens to be. So I know Kurosan miniatures. I don't have any of their miniatures because they arrived on the scene a little too late after I'd already overbought a lot of things. So like, I'm not really in the I'm going to go buy figures business. I've got so many that I'm going to be. It was almost like I I was expecting a lot of painting in 2020, and I stocked up on figures. Amazing how that happened. But they're fine figures, but they have a multitude of different sculptors that do their work, and I'm not sure exactly how it works, but they have a lot of sculptor mercenaries, and they give credit to who the sculptor is. They'll say, "Oh, these figures you'll buy in Mike." Um, so it'd be nice if the sculptors got a little bit of credit there. They're really the ones doing all the hard work. We're just doing paint by numbers. Now we might be really good at paint by numbers, but this is amateur compared to the sculpting work. So, okay, we got some other comments here. Okay, let's see here. Oh, we got. I don't even know how to say your name. Can I just call you Todd? Because I know your name is Todd. uh, Iterant hobbyist. I think that's how it is. I need to paint more quickly. Unfortunately, I think the way to get faster is to paint more often regularly. You know, I'm a slow painter. I'll say I'm a slow painter. I've seen people that paint, people other than myself that paint on a level that I consider myself to be equivalent or at a level of quality that I want to be at. So, in other words, people that I'd be really happy if I painted as good as I do. There's really no shortcuts to doing it. Where you waste all your time is the, well, let's see. What color horse? Well, I think this guy's going to have a blue shield. No, it's going to be a green one. Well, with a brown horse, it's the cogitating. That's where all your if you just had to just go, that's not where all your time is. Your time is in the back and forth. So that's why when I put these figures together, I don't make units. I just paint them because that would take even longer to do. And I'm probably averaging about 4 hours a figure if you look at all of it, which is a ton of time. But they don't repaint themselves. I mean, once I'm painting with these guys, unless something were to happen to them, I don't have to paint them again. They're done, for forever and ever. So I always tell people that like to cook, I don't think that I can devour in 2 minutes. It's the same thing as painting. I spend 200 hours painting an army, and it's so quick on the battle, but I don't, I never have to paint it again. It's just the same thing. Everybody has, just a level of patience and pacing yourself. So, yeah, it just, you can't get discouraged. You got to keep moving forward, and the quality I want my figures to look like, there's no shortcuts. There aren't any. I've seen other people paint some of my painting heroes, and they take just as long, and it's a million. I mean, the guys that paint, I'm a 20 millimeter World War II painter as well. That's really what I started. My best looking figures in the mid '90s. That's what I started doing, and I think my figures look pretty good. My vehicles, though, man, the amount of work that people put into vehicles with weathering and stuff like that in 1/72nd scale, there's some folks out there that just go the whole hog, and it just takes them a long time to get it done. And I'm adding 6, 7 layers of one color. They're doing like 6 or 7 layers plus two filters and some dry brushing and crushing some pastels and mixing that in there. I'm like, that just takes a lot of patience. There's no shortcut on some of those things. And yeah. Anyhow, sorry, I got sidetracked on it. But yeah, Todd, just stick with it. Yeah, you gotta paint more often, and I developed the habit of I lived alone for a long time, and when I moved out, and I had um, I had a multiple room condominium to myself, and in the mid '90s, and my buddy would come over on painting night. It was Wednesday night, and he would come over. He'd bring his figures. Hell, he'd leave all his paints here at there at the house. Jeff, if you're listening, it's talking about you. But we would have a blast painting, and I am a terrible multitasker. I'm the worst. But I can carry on a conversation and paint because that's what we used to do. Now, what I can't do together, and we had that second beer, I didn't give a shit about painting anything else. I was just like having a great time, didn't matter, you know. But painting became a social thing for me. The idea of hiding in a in a room and painting by yourself with your thoughts is just kind of boring, you know. I'd rather do something social. This is helping me a lot. I think the other day I really didn't want to paint, and I was on there for almost 2 hours and got some painting done, and hopefully passed on some information. Just hopefully we could do something about this resolution. I'm disappointed about that, but anyhow, let's get this chat box off. I think we got some other chat boxes. Yes, I'm painting 15s, Todd. Yep. 20s are a good scale to paint well. Yeah. So my favorite sculptor of all time is this poor guy named Dave Alsop. He made the combat miniatures. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Love his painting style. I mean, there's never been any figures that I like more than his. And the guy died in a tragic accident, and I want to say probably 89, 90, something like that. So he stopped making figures, but he was very prolific. And so I loved his combat miniatures, 20 millimeter stuff. All the figures had character and all of it. So the they all have their individual names. So the fact that they all have a personality really works well. So okay, so Todd says, how are you streaming? Camera, microphone, OBS, or question mark? Okay, so I am streaming on my phone. I am running 4G. I'm right on the cusp of a 5G signal, and it is a brand new phone. It is a Samsung S20 Ultra 5G. So the phone doesn't get any better. All my other videos have also been on a phone. The problem I have here, let me give you a little bit of background information. I've got a great cell phone signal here at home. Excellent. My internet sucks. Okay. My internet, if we try to stream one show on Netflix, we sometimes can't even get that going. So we've got DSL, and we've just never been able, unless they put that the high speed the fiber, which we're not deemed worthy of them doing it. I basically can't do anything else. So we use our phones a lot. I basically forget that we even have a home network. Let me give you an example. Okay, I don't know if you do any kind of video gaming. I do. I do some. I purchased 3 games over the Christmas break, and they were at a discount. They were Xbox games, and one now, since the girls were out of town, and get some saving the world stuff going in. Well, I installed it, and after installing it, there was a patch. The patch took 28 hours to download. So what does that mean? That means the same weekend I wanted to play it, I couldn't play it. Because by the time I had downloaded the patch, it was Monday. So it's just insane. My home, and we've replaced the modem, and that's just where we are. So I'm sure, but you know what? I'd rather have crappy internet service and a good phone signal than the other way around. So yeah. Yeah, we don't have AT&T. You can tell I'm a technology guy, can't you? Uh, we don't have the capability of getting that of the super fast of the fiber here. It's We've got our local cable company that nobody likes. We don't have them, but we've just had the same DSL thing for many years now. And oh well, I can't complain. So, but the limiting factor on my previous phone was not the internet signal; it was the RAM exporting ability of it. So I got to the point where I couldn't. I had to dumb my videos down. I had to make them less fancy because the exporting, I know I did one video that was like an hour and a half long, and after I edited everything, it took an entire weekend, and I still couldn't export it properly. So I think I'm over that hurdle. Okay, so back to what we're doing here. Um, Back to what we're doing here, and I'll take a look at the. Well, you know what? We'll take a look at them now, since you guys are trying to educate me, and that's good because I am not a technology person here. Okay, how am I streaming? What 4G? Not even Wi-Fi. That is crazy. I stream Wi-Fi and I don't get that good. Okay, so you're saying my picture is better than what you get, Todd? I think that's what you're getting at. Oh, fascinating. We're just the opposite, except right now because it was buffing, but that's on our end. Okay. We get one bar on 5G out here often. I'm right on the cusp of getting the 5G thing. So I really haven't experienced that jump, but I get great signal here. You said 28, and appropriately enough, my internet started buffering, and then you came on saying hours. Isn't technology great? I find that I prefer painting while streaming because it gets me down there and something else to do. Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube, which is like, I've got to do YouTube videos. It's my way of giving back. Okay. I'm not a genius, but we all know our little niches. And I'm like, hey, there could be something that I'm doing here that somebody might find useful. Just like I've come up with some ideas on the backs of some other people. That's what keeps us from going back into another dark age, is sharing information with each other. Okay, and then Fanglewolf says, I see three things to try for 1080p. Okay, oh, one, make sure power save is off. Interesting. Okay, I gotta find where the hell that is, but okay, that's good. Power save off. I'll look at this later and take notes. Two, under settings, data usage, make sure no limitations there. Okay. Three, reboot before you shoot. Oh, damn it, man. Okay. I was having problems with exporting like an actual video in the past, and that's one thing I had to do was to reboot. And I'm terrible about it rebooting. Okay, next time we're going to do all three of those things, and it won't be tomorrow because I understand tomorrow we're going to be filming a little battle or a series of battles. So if it is, but the girls have been gone all week, and I wanted to film like every day this week after work, but my compatriot decided he was going to turn me into a toad if he didn't go back up to Yankee, Illinois land to visit his family. So he's back tomorrow, and we got some good stuff planned for you guys. So looking forward to that, and it's something we haven't done. So expect some dice-capades tomorrow. Well, you guys won't see it tomorrow. We'll film it tomorrow, and it'll probably go up about midnight Eastern Standard Time, something like that. So you guys can wake up Saturday morning and go, oh, now I know what I'm going to do all weekend. I'm going to watch Tony's video. So yeah, we've gotten to the point where if we're going to play a game, my preference is to film every game because there's so many cool things that happen that you guys just wouldn't believe. I mean, I believe them because we've seen all kinds of crazy stuff happen, like, roll pips happens all the time, but yeah, my preference is to film every single game. But there's a couple conditions that need to happen. One of them is you can't have too many people because you don't want to have like four people over and two people are sitting around waiting while the other two are playing. So you want to make sure that's not the case. Three is fine. You get a third person in and we can trade off. And I'll be honest with you, I have fun just coming up with cracking on people, and I don't have to play, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Mitch and I have played almost 850 games of DBA together. Yes, I keep track of all of them. We're in the 830s or something like that. And we've played so many games against each other that I don't care about giving away what my secrets is. So I like talking about what I'm trying to achieve lately because I don't like to plan. I get paid to plan at work and things go to shit. But in my personal life, I kind of like to wing it. Well, not like let's wing it and see if let's not pay the mortgage and see what happens. No, I mean, it is a game. It's that kind of a thing. So I don't overplan the battles, but I don't. So from that standpoint, is I like talking out loud to the audience where they maybe can benefit from some of the theory of why we're doing what. But one thing I've noticed is we've started doing these game videos, and a lot of people are interested in like, how do I win with the Burgundians, or how do I win with these guys? The reality is all the secrets, and I may have a tactic that doesn't work for you. You have to go with your kind of playing style. Main thing about these game videos is you got to make sure that people are playing the rules correctly. That's more important than necessarily, well, how do I win with these guys? Too many people are worried about winning. You know, I mean, I'm not. Everybody in my in our gaming group, I don't mind at all losing to them. They're good folks, so maybe I'm the exception. But work, and I want to win when in my personal life. I don't necessarily need to win in a game in a silly little game that we make no money on and that kind of stuff. So I digress. Okay, so this is a little bit of white with this big base color on here, and let's minimize this chat message. Okay, and see. Can we do an autofocus on him? You know, I'm seeing 1080p. I apologize. I'm going to have to do a real video. Unfortunately, I want to get these guys done, so that's not going to happen until I'm in some kind of a lull. But we can do the faces, we can do the horses. People struggle with horses a lot. I've never painted horses until I started doing this DVA stuff. There's no horses if you're doing World War II, unless you're doing Cossacks or horsebound transport or something like that. So. Okay, so we're gonna do something crazy. See if we can get away with it. You guys want to do something crazy? I want to do something crazy. All right, let's add stripes to this guy. What? You gonna add stripes? Yes, we are. We are gonna add some stripes. Now, again, we want to make sure this guy is not too fancy, or he's gonna get kicked out. They're gonna think he's taking bribes from the Umayyads, and he's the guys on. They're gonna kick him out of his tribe. Dark gray. Now I want something with a little bit of brown. How about this color over here? What do we got here? That's way too dark. See this, folks, this is what takes time. Like, let's do this. No, let's do this one. Let's do this. And I need to take a video here in my little work area because not so much that I'm kind of proud of it, but it works for me. And let's try this. Yellow green, viejo, okay? I just wanted something that's just a little bit off. And hopefully I don't screw this up. Or have it turn out how I'm not happy with it. So we're going to add some stripes, like he's wearing some kind of a big old tunic with some stripes. Not crazy, but just a little bit. And they're going to be thin too, so. Whoa, way too much. I knew that was going to happen. All right, let's go to our thin one. We're going to add, how's our black doing over here? It's not alive. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some lines on here. We're going to put some lines on here. but we don't want to do it completely finished. In other words, we want to pace ourselves and then fill them in because you don't want, in other words, you don't want to start on one end and bring it all the way down. You kind of want to, how about I just show you? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and one right in the middle. And the paint's kind of watery a little bit, okay? So I'm not too worried about that because, well, if it's transparent, because we're going to do some highlighting on the stripes as well so that it doesn't look like it's, hey, we got all this nice highlighting on the folds, but the stripe's totally like flat, you know? So we're going to put one there. We're going to put another one there. And then we're going to put another one here. Now, hopefully this turns out okay. So, okay, we got 3 lines on there. Again, and then you're up a creek. All right. Now, they don't necessarily have to connect, but we're going to put one here. Well, you got the belt between them. And there's enough space between them to possibly do another one here. And we're going to go to the other side. Put one here. One there. This top part is folded, but we can show another one down in here. Okay. Let's keep going around the torso. One there. The other one on the front there so you can see it. Now we're going to do the sleeves. And I'll show you guys what this looks like. And like I said, when I'm done with this figure, we'll take a picture of and put it there in the community so you know, I can do a video, even the thing on the Ostergos. I took a look at it, and I'm not wanting to toot my own horn here, but it looks better in real life or in still pictures than it does in those videos, and I don't know why. Okay, so and that goes for other people's stuff too. I've seen other people's stuff in the video and be like, oh, whatever. And then you see it in real life, like, well, those guys look really good. So, okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with where things ended up being on this guy. It's not super noticeable. I don't want it to be super noticeable. Now, what I'm going to do is, since I'm happy with where those things are, I'm going to come in and I'm going to darken them up. Okay, so now I've committed to where they're going to be. And we're just going to come in. Now, the cool thing that I did is, and this is kind of unintentionally, is I kind of located them with a color that's not as dark as this one that I'm doing. So when I'm painting this one, you'll actually have a more solid color, and it fades towards the ends of the stripe. Did I intend to do it that way? Not really. It just kind of happened. But I'll tell you what, this is dying on me, this color. I don't need a whole lot of paint, but it's, there we go. You guys will be able to see this a lot better when I get done with this. Yeah, at some point I need to try doing some galls or some guys with some plaid and stuff. You know, the galls have the I don't know if plaid is the correct terminology. Cross hatching pattern, cloaks, that kind of stuff. Yeah, looking forward to doing that. Can't really do that for the Scots because I don't do anything that's, say, more modern than like 1500s, this type of scale. And the Scots didn't have plaid during that time. Tartan. Sorry, not plaid, tartan. Almost done with this, and I'll show you guys what I got here. Put stripes on this dude. Again, no planning. Okay. You know what might work better? This. So I'm not constantly moving it. Okay. Nothing out of this. We already got lots of guys that are just wearing white, so there's no point in doing that. All right. Now we're going to take this color we have here, and we're going to lighten it up some. This is kind of a, what color is this? Green gray? Yellow green. Yeah, I guess that's an accurate. It's kind of like a pea soup type of color. That's okay. I like pea soup. By the way, what I'm doing right now, this seems to be what I'm not, what does not wear the brushes out. Because you're using very little paint. Okay, I'm going to need to lighten this up more. So I'm going to come in here and see what we got here. And just lighten the center up a little bit. Yeah, so of course I've been daydreaming about what's my next project going to be when I get done with these guys. It will probably not involve painting it, buying any new figures. That does not really narrow it down. So I probably have 40 armies I could probably build. It's not that I overbought. Well, I did overbuy, but not that many. You know, I'll go to a flea market. Let me give you an example. Last Historicon, I go to a flea market. Had no intention of buying Byzantines. And this guy is selling a ton of museum Byzantine figures for $1 a pack. I don't need any, but I have a bunch of earlier Byzantine figures just kind of sitting in storage. Now, they museum, I like museum, but they have one pose in the pack. So what does that mean? It means that when I go to build that army, if I go to build that army, I will have to supplement it with other figures so that I have a mix and match more looking pattern in them. Because I don't want guys that have like the same pose over and over again. It's boring. So I'll probably end up doing that. And we're going to lose the glasses here. I'm nearsighted, so now I'm just painting without my contacts in. That's the beauty of being older than 45 is, yeah, like 4 years ago that I got hit by that, which isn't a big deal, but it was kind of a surprise because my vision hadn't changed in 30 years. Here, okay, we're going to add a little bit of white to that color. Yeah, when I was doing the ships and stuff back in the 90s, 1/2400 scale, I wasn't even sealing them. I wasn't varnishing them or anything. So I was using washes and stuff like that. And I love how the wash turned out. I'd go to bed, wake up the next day, look like shit because the wash had moved on them. You know, now people know better than to do stuff like that. They can. I'm not even sure what they got to do. They got to add a little bit of dishwasher soap or something like that to release the surface tension. But you know, back then there was no internet. Well, there was no internet where you could save, where you could talk to each other and share that kind of information on hobby stuff. Or I didn't have a computer anyway, so that was kind of beside the point. But yeah, now we've come a long way considering we can share all our techniques with other folks that are interested in all the little toys that we paint. Okay, so here, well, one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back. I don't know that I've ever done this, but I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to go back and there's a part in the sleeve where the sleeves get attached to the tunic, and I want it to be a little bit of a darker line. And there's not really showing there, so I'm going to go back to this color here. Again, this is why it's hand going to mix us. It doesn't have to be black. It just needs to be darker. And we're going to come in here and we're going to put a line. No, that's too close. It's not dark enough. Yes, that's great. Oh, I'm happy with it, which is all you can do. You need to paint to whatever level makes you happy. And if other people like it, that's awesome. I've had people say something, man, that looks really good. And I didn't like it, so it really didn't matter whether they agreed with it or not, you know. Okay, so let me show you some stripes here. And I'm going to try like hell to get this guy done tonight. What is it? 9:42 Eastern? Yeah. Okay. Bam! Let's do a lance. All right, here we go. Lance time. All right. We're going to grab a color that I use a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. It should be, I believe it's this one. Yes, it's called green ochre. Okay? Vallejo green ochre. It's a color that would be similar to Panzer Dark Yellow. Okay? Maybe a little bit more middle stone than Panzer Dark Yellow, but it's a Panzer Dark Yellow type of a color. And that's what we're going to use for the black. I already got black out here, so I'm going to be lazy and use black. Hey, this is me cutting corners. This is what I do. I don't have many opportunities to cut corners, so we're going to take this one. Go back to our bigger brush. Okay. All right. The lens. Okay. We're going to come in, and I know I've seen people paint what I like to call painting in midair. That means painting out here and your wrists aren't supported on anything. I don't know how people do that. I don't know. I've got to have my wrists on here. Not that I'm jumping all over the place, but you know, I want to keep it steady. When I paint, I don't get tired. I could do this for, and my butt gets tired from being in the chair more than anything else. I'm the chair jacked as low as it'll go, and and the table as high as it'll go. That means that I am painting in the most sitting up position that I can. So it's comfortable. It's not bad on my back. Not that I have a bad back or anything, but anyhow, what am I rambling on about? Oh yeah. No, I legitimately forgot. But anyhow, we're just going to paint this with this mixture, paint the entire thing, leave a tiny little bit of black between the lance and the rest of the figure. Don't go all the way to the tip because we're going to paint the tip. We're going to paint the tip metallic. And yes, it's out of scale. It's all right. I'm using pins or needles or something like that. They're filed down with a metal file. It doesn't take that long to do it. And I've got my Armenians, which have almost 80 games in with them. I've had them for 10 years. They've flown an aircraft, never lost one. So I prefer the metal, the actual pin. So, okay. So we are done with that base color. Let's go in and add, we're going to continue using this black that's here. We're going to add more of the core color. Another thing that's a lot of fun to do, I'm not doing it on any of these figures, but when you have to paint wood grain, in other words, make something look like it's made out of wood that really isn't. So like if you're painting like a little cannon or something like that, where you have to paint like the different shades of the wood and stuff, that's a lot of fun to do. I like doing that. You're adding a lot of life to it. I really enjoy that. Now, I stopped the stripes. I may go a little bit more on them, but I want to go ahead and let everything else catch up. If once you've moved on to something else, you can always go back to it. That's why I don't seal none of these mounted guys over here. I've got 12 mounted figures to do, okay? Or had 12 to do. So there's 10 of them over here. Move these guys over here. Okay, there's 10 guys over here done. I did finish the command stand for that for the Beckus project. Okay, so this is the command cavalry stand, and then these 12 figures are going to make up 4 more knight stands, mounted stands for their impetuous cavalry. But none of these have been varnished yet. Okay, I just do that from a time saving standpoint. I don't know what it is about when you varnish them; they look 50% better. It just evens all the colors and everything. So we're going to varnish all of these guys together. Obviously, these are varnished because they get varnished before they get put on the bases and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't stop and do and varnish a few figures at a time. That's just a waste of time. I try to be efficient like that. I still paint slow, but I got to be able to make headway where I can. So it's, like I said, maybe I'll touch something on. Maybe you guys are producing something. Maybe you guys are. I just realized that I had the same color paint over here at 2 places. This is probably like a week old. It's still alive. It's still good. You're driving, or hopefully you're not looking at what I'm doing here. But anyhow, maybe I'll touch on something that'll make you go, "Oh, I'll try that," or I never thought about that. Or maybe I'm just rambling at myself. But hey, regardless, I'm getting stuff done. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys' company, whether or not I'm having some of it. So um, yeah, I listen to YouTube a lot while I'm painting. I try to find something that I don't have to look at constantly. I'm constantly looking up and distracting myself, which just basically means you're really inefficient. So I try not to find something like that. So if I can find some good history program that I like listening to, a podcast, or uh, that's good too. Audible, I got to do a lot of books on Audible. Um, Problem with I like to read. The problem is it's too relaxing, puts me to sleep, and you can't do anything else while you're reading. So if you're doing something like Audible, who this channel is not sponsored by, I don't have any sponsors. Not really interested in that. But I do promote things that I use, and Audible's great because you can be reading a book while you're not reading a book. Right now I am actually listening to um, a book by an author named Dan Jones, who's done several things on War of the Roses and the Plantagenets. That was a good one. But the really cool thing about this one is it's on the Crusades, but it's not linear. It's like little excerpts from different people that went on crusade from different factions from both sides. And what's cool about it is the person who is narrating it is the actual author, which was can be a problem with some of the books. Like the material will be good, but they pick somebody who they shouldn't have picked, in my opinion, to do the narration. So I've come across a couple of those, unfortunately. But when you have a good narrator, it has to be good. It makes for a really cool experience. Um, so far, that Crusades one's really good. He does a good job narrating his own book. I've quite enjoyed that. If you guys are into the ancient stuff, another one that I recommend entirely, completely, is a book called it's like 3 or 4 years old now. It's called Ghosts of Cannae. And you would think, well, why would I want to read a book that's just about one battle? Well, that's just it. It is not about one battle. It starts basically it ends with Cannae. No, I think it goes through the whole Second Punic War, but it's long. There's like an 18-hour book or something like that. But the narrator is excellent, and the material is really good. And yeah, it basically covers, say, 300 BC to um, maybe like 150 BC between Rome and Carthage. So check that out on Audible by Robert L. O'Connell. I think that's the name of the author. It's came out a couple of years ago. And it is an excellent, excellent book. It's probably my top recommendation. People say, "Hey, what do you listen to on Audible?" I like ancient stuff. Book. It's really, really. And I'm not a Carthaginian fan. I'm not a fan of. I mean, I don't hate it, but I mean, it's just that's not my period. But it is. It's really, 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 really good. So, highly recommend that one. Yeah, I don't want to be sponsored by somebody because if something sucks, I want to be able to tell you, "Hey, I really didn't like this." Yeah. I'm always in my videos pushing Litgo stands. Litgo doesn't give any money. They have a good product. I don't want them to give me any money. I just want to tell you, hey, look, guys, I found this material. I use these guys for all of my stands all the time. I'm really happy with it. Give them a try. You know. So, um, yeah. So one more level. One more level on this. I actually don't think I'm going to be able to make it to the end on this video, finish this figure on video. And the reason why is because I'm going to need my phone, which I'm filming with, to take a look at some shield patterns to get inspiration for the little shield on this guy. Because we just don't want to throw, we don't want to throw like a cow hide on there and just move on. We want it to have detail, but not be overpowering. Okay. Um, because a lot of these shields that I have some detail, but they don't have this crazy expensive pattern that you know would have maybe cost money or whatever. So these guys are just going to be simple folks that don't believe in the extravagance of Umayyads. So that's what I'm going for. So okay, so the lance is done. We're going to do the is it this one? Looking for my did I move it on me? Did I move it on myself? Here it is. It's over here. This is just Lead Belcher by Citadel. And just to get a good mix in there, we threw one of those little ball bearings. Those are really handy. I took those on this is Army Painter mixing balls. They're like $6 and you get 100 of them. And I'm thinking, man, did I just wait $6 on these things? No, I did not. They are worth it. I did not go in and throw a bunch of them in every color. As I use them, if I think that the paint container needs therapy, I will throw one in there. And it does make an annoying sound when I'm mixing it up, but it does seem to mix it up pretty well. I recommend those. Okay. And we're going to paint the tip. Leave a little bit of black showing between the wood and the tip, the metal tip. Make it pop a little bit more. Okay. Is there anything else I can paint that is this metallic color while I have the metallic alive here? Let's do the hilt of the sword. All right. And then my bronze color, which is an extremely useful color. Let's see if I can find it. It's hiding back here. I got to put everything away in between each figure that I paint, or there'll be no workspace. Okay, this is Vallejo bronze. Super useful color. But you never use much of it. You never need a whole lot. And all we're going to do on here is we're going to put this on the tang, I believe is what it's called. The tang of the sword handoff. You got some protection around it. Okay. That part's done. We're going to go ahead and do the sheath and his belt. Let's grab a leather color that has a little bit of a reddish tinge to it, because that'll make it pop from the rest of the figure here. All right, so what does that mean? That is, let's find our candidate here. Who's this? This Cavalry Brown? We don't need to do Cavalry Brown. We need to do this Saddle Brown. Saddle Brown. I think that's what this one is. Oh, Mahogany Brown. Okay, that'll work too. Just a medium brown with some red to it. Add a little bit more color depth in there. I don't know. That's unbelievable. My color theory. You just kind of do it, you know. You just kind of do it and don't think that much about it. I don't want to sit there and build a whole army of these guys and make all their equipment look exactly the same. In other words, all the sword sheaths and this color and all of this and this color. And I think that these guys just showed up with what they had and they're just going to go to it. If I was doing Romans or something like that, yeah, they would have standard equipment that's supplied by the state to make them look more uniform. But since that is not the case with these guys, I want them to have a motley type of look to them. So I think this is the one. Yeah. All right. And what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little bit of black. We're going to make the dark shade here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Looks like his there we go. Looks like it got bent at some point. All right, we're going to paint this entire thing in this color. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to check out those tips that you guys you gave there, Wolf, for the next time I do one of these and see if it makes a difference. We will check that out. Okay, let's add a little bit more of the core color to this black, the darkened shade. And we don't need to go brighter than that. We're good with this type of a color. Let's add a little bit of lightener in the shape of white. And a little bit more. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to stop. We are about the other day, like we did on Monday, an hour and 45 minutes of just yammering along and doing some painting. We've got, let's put this away and see if we can zoom in over here. There we go. Maybe that's a little better. So you got stripes on his tunic. We've got a horse. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what we're going to do with that shield, because that's a pretty big portion of the figure. So it's going to be a color defining thing. I'm not sure what main color I'm going to do on this shield, but that's going to be pretty defined on, it's going to kind of set the tone for everything else. So we're going to do the shield, then we'll probably run into the his preventative COVID guard, his turban as well. So yeah, so I can't get much more than like a half hour done in the mornings after I wake up before I got to go to the salt mines. But yeah, the weekend I can't make any. I like to say get them hosed, because they have a high amount of warband and they have a high amount of impetuous cavalry. So that they're going to win big or they're going to lose big. So, but anyways, thanks for joining us, and hopefully you found something useful here. I'm going to try those tips for the next filming, try to get some resolution up, and so you guys can get a better picture quality. But we'll catch you guys then on the flip side. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a game we're going to film tomorrow. So hopefully, knock on wood, that's the plan. Well, not one game. It's going to be, yeah. And I don't know if I'll win, but I'm going to be rolling a pink die a lot. So you know how that is. So anyhow, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe, especially the subscribe thing. That way you guys can know when I'm online and that kind of stuff. And I appreciate you guys chiming in and the back and forth. So kept me entertained, and hopefully you guys were too. Okay, folks, catch you next time. See ya.